What's up everyone, my name is Biku and I am here with what is overclocking? I know this is a hot topic of debate all over the internet and a lot of people don't know what overclocking is or should they actually do it. So I am here to explain to you what it is, some of the benefits, some of the downfalls, and just in general, should you do it? Now, what is overclocking? Overclocking is increasing the speed of your CPU or GPU or other components to increase the rate at which they can process tasks. This is usually done on the CPU by increasing the multiplier, or on the GPU by using GPU overclocking software like MSI Afterburner by increasing the megahertz or the frequency or whatever it's called, by increasing that to gain a bit more performance out of your components. Now, a lot of you might be asking, can I overclock my computer? And that depends. On the Intel side, if you have a K or X series CPU and you have a Z or X series chipset motherboard, then yes, you can. And on the AMD side, most AMD CPUs can be overclocked, but if you do want to, you're going to have to buy a motherboard that has some overclocking features like better VRM components and stuff like that, just so that you don't fry your motherboard with increased voltage. When it comes to graphics cards, I believe all graphics cards can be overclocked, but it's only really necessary on mid to upper range graphics cards, like my GTX 760. But on some of the more lower end cards, some of the things like your voltage can be locked down. Like mine, I can only add an increase of 12 millivolts to this graphics card, which is a little bit annoying, but yeah. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a K-series CPU to demonstrate how to actually overclock a CPU, but the basics are the same for the graphics card. Just increase the numbers until your system crashes, and then once that's done, you back off the overclock until your system is stable. Now, what are some of the benefits of overclocking? Well, it's very simple. Basically, your computer runs faster, and that's not done and dusted. It's not your computer will just run faster in total. Some things on your computer are limited by your hard drive or SSD speed. So sometimes you can get better performance out of your computer by upgrading to an SSD than you will by overclocking. But just the general feel of the computer will, the general feel of the computer will be faster if you upgrade to an SSD, but the CPU and graphics card speed, which can help in some applications, will be faster if you overclock. What are some of the downfalls of overclocking? Well, basically your CPU and graphics card will run hotter, which can cause premature death of components if you don't cool them properly. But that's really it. And it can cause some stability issues if you push your overclock a bit too far, but as long as you do it reasonably, then your overclock will be okay and your system will run fine. Now, the main question, should I overclock? And that depends greatly on what you're doing with your computer. If you use it mainly just for YouTube and internet and emails, then there's really no point in overclocking. But if you're a hardcore gamer or content creator, like a video editor like I am, or photo editor or anything like that, then yes, the Adobe Creative Suite can leverage extra performance in your CPU greatly. And games will obviously run a bit faster when you overclock. But so if you are willing to have a little bit more heat and cool it properly to get an extra 5 to 10% of performance increase out of your components, then I would recommend you do overclock, because it's basically free performance and it's as simple as that. So if you do need it, then I would say do it. But if you don't do any CPU or GPU intensive tasks on your computer, then it's not necessary. So, thank you all for watching my video on what is overclocking, and goodbye.